Good morning. Welcome to this June 18th Board of Commissioners meeting. Commissioner Ewitz is teaching at the Learning to Lead today, so he won't be with us. Our first item is public comment. Do we have anyone here for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll get right to our presenters. Stephen Ray with the NCIRPC contract and a resolution. I'll have you take us through this a little bit. Stephen, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you all. Just got a couple of things. I appreciate everybody giving me some time to give you an update on the Regional Planning Council. So this is a dashboard of what we've been able to accomplish. We're going to celebrate our 10th anniversary in October. So what you have in front of you is top left-hand corner, $22 million has been brought back to the region in grants and programs from 2015 through the end of 23. Then if you drop down, you can see that that 22 million has been in 135 projects, return on investments over $14, and the average return per capita is $11. That is just our normal operations, what we do on a normal, regular basis. What that does not calculate or include is the READY 1.0 funds. That was a $30 million grant that was awarded to the region back at the end of 21. So if you jump over to the right-hand side, that top box, Clinton County, $7.6 million back to Clinton County from 2015 going forward. And then in the bottom there, you see that that's reflective of 30 million ready grants, 21 projects across all 6 counties, over $3 billion in private investment and project costs, and then the 3 projects that Ready One is funding here in Clinton County, the Meadowbrook, the Roundhouse, and the Iron Block. Since I printed that out or created that back in March, we were awarded $35 million in the Ready 2 program. So we're currently going through the process of identifying our projects. You have a steering committee here in Clinton County. Shan Sheridan's the primary point of contact for that. We're going to be working with the state to identify projects, get those uploaded, and I anticipate that those projects will more than likely kick off first of next year. Any questions on our history background?
Nope.
Okay, so the next thing that I am here to discuss is the contract for services. We, because of the ready funds, have.
Yeah, we have a copy and then there's
Okay.
another one.
So with the ready funds, it's in everybody's best interest to have a contract for services as the state tracks funds in and out of the local unit of government to the Regional Planning Council and then on to the ultimate recipients. So we've put together a contract for services for your consideration.
Yep. And yeah, so Tom went through it. I will also mention that the contract is for the county and the city because we split the payment to the regional council for the economic development. So the contract's between all 3 parties. And then it's basically split 50% for the city and 50% for the county, which it doesn't, the cost is not changing. This has been in place since when, 2013 or 14? 14. It's just now putting it in writing. So as we've been going down this path to get contracts done. So do you have any questions for Stephen?
Have none. It's
Okay.
done well for many years.
Yep. And the only thing I will ask, because I need you to remind me, when we met, we discussed this, we have some appointments to the council, to the regional council, correct?
sir.
Can you just share what those are so we can make sure we're doing our side of the commitment?
Absolutely. You have a commissioner appointment, county council appointment, the county seat, typically it's the mayor, the economic development director, and then a small community.
Okay. I think we're missing a couple of those.
Yes, sir.
So we need to get together and get some appointments so we have some better representation there. So-
And our next meeting is, I believe, July 9th. It's the second Tuesday.
Okay, all right, we'll work on getting our appointments in place.
I'll
by then.
follow up with an email.
Yep. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract between the Clinton County Commissioners, the City of Frankfort, and the North Central Indiana Regional Planning Council.
So moved.
All right, motion carries 2-0 on that. And in conjunction with it, we then have the resolution, which is Resolution 2024-04. And you can walk us through that if you want
Yeah,
to give us.
so executive
give it
summary.
to Jordan.
Every 5 years, the region has to put together a comprehensive economic development strategy. We just updated our strategy, and what I shared with Jordan just now is the executive summary. And basically, that's the roadmap for the Regional Planning Council to follow over the next 5 years to ensure that we're providing services back to our community. So what we're asking is that each of our counties pass a resolution accepting that or approving that as the regional strategy. Our board approved it back in January, I believe, and so we're just out in front of each of our communities asking them for their approval. That's to your benefit should you pursue certain types of grants that request regional strategies. You'll have a document in hand and a resolution saying, yep, this is part of our plan. So
And it works in conjunction with our own comprehensive plan, and then how Stephen works with Shan as well as the county to land economic development opportunities, and through the IEDC in particular, that relationship's there. So that's kind of a brief overview of how all this works, rather than getting into all the details with it, so.
Motion to have you sign, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it has one signature, yep.
Yep.
Yep, okay. So motion carries 2-0 to approve the resolution for the 5-year comprehensive economic development strategy. So, appreciate it. Thank you, Stephen. Anything else?
yeah, just the last bit is, since we're working on getting the contract, I'm gonna hand you the invoice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll hand it to the auditor.
Yeah.
We'll get you signed, so you have your
Yep.
signed version, so you
Yep,
can
that's
take it with you. Thank you for coming and presenting.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
Here's your copy.
Very good.
Thank you.
Do you want me to send the fully executed back?
Yeah. Send it to Jerry.
Yeah.
Or you can send it to me and I'll get it to her. Yeah,
Either way.
that works.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's fine.
yep, perfect. Thank you.
And the resolution.
You want me to send it to
Send
you?
it, would you please?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Steven's running a little behind. He was helping out at EMS this morning, so we'll move on to Rick, who has a few things here. We have a highway update, a consulting agreement, and it says the vehicle lease agreement.
I have them all packed for you.
All right.
Have the morning,
Morning.
have the agreement between commissioners and BF&S for the second phase of construction of Bridge 21, which is on 750 North in between 600 West and 500 West.
Entertain a motion to move forward with the consulting agreement.
Motion to approve the consulting agreement with BFNS.
2-0 on that. Just add it to the stack.
And I also have the lease agreement with Stoops for the 6 new dump trucks. And I think Jerry's got a copy.
Yeah,
for
we
you to
have it. It
sign.
has a lot of signatures, so.
Okay, yeah.
We'll get them signed here after the meeting,
And-
but, yeah, so that's for six dump trucks, 6 Freightliner dump trucks, correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Five-year lease,
5-year lease.
and then we'll own them.
All right. Lease to own. So,
Yes.
all right.
And we're chip sealing. We started chip sealing yesterday. And that's about all I got.
On the trucks, have we got any of them yet? I can't remember.
We got 2 of them,
Two?
and they're chip sealing.
Okay.
They're out there and we're using them. Also, I wanted to talk about the solar farm. They pulled all their signs up that said rough road and stuff like that, and 50's just destroyed, so we put up road closed signs, local traffic only, or, so, just to kind of protect ourselves. I didn't want to spend any more money on it. Talked to Milestone. They've been out there and they've marked all the spots to be wedged, and they told me they was trying to come in a couple of weeks, that the solar farm is being slow about getting out of there. And so I'll give them 1 more week, and then I'll reach out to them again and find out what's going on. But this time of year, it's hard to get dump trucks, so that's a lot of it right there.
Okay. All right. Any questions, Commissioner?
Oh, good.
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick. All right, next up, we have Cat Bell with area plan update, as well as the LUPAC 624-386, as well as ordinance 2024-09. Good morning, Cap.
Good morning. So, let me get my bearings here. Okay, so you have a loop pack there to sign that it did go before the Area Plan Commission on June the 4th, and they did proceed with a favorable recommendation to you. This also comes with commitments, and they did hand me the commitments this morning. They have been signed on their side. It looks like we just need one more signature on the commitments from our side, which I believe would be you, Jordan, maybe?
Okay, yep.
Liz wasn't sure who was supposed to sign that, but it's for the property of the redevelopment.
RDC, so Alan will have to sign it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll give this back to Liz. She said she'd track down whoever it was, so it'd be Alan.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
president of RDC, so he'll need to
Okay.
sign it.
And so this particular area is being rezoned to B5. And there are going to be like a bunch of different mixed uses, but we went with that because we wanted to be able to try to make sure that, I mean, some things that they may come in with, businesses and whatnot, they could have to have a special exception, but we just didn't want to make it like, something that, as you can see in the commitments, there's several things here that even though what the use table may say, these uses will be prohibited, so. And the petitioner is here if you have any other questions.
Yeah, I see. Jeff, do you just want to kind of give everybody a run through similar to what you did at the area plan? So, or either one of you.
We'll let Justin start.
Justin do it. Okay, that'd be great. Perfect.
Yeah, I think Kat summarized it well, but this has kind of been a project that we've been working on for the better part of a year. Several discussions with the Area Plan Commission or Department, the Redevelopment Commission, along with Shan and the Economic Development Commission. And we started off with an initial use. It was pretty early on in those conversations that it was indicated to us that that use was not preferred. And so we took a look at the use table and through conversations with Liz, decided to go with a B5 rezone. And then following conversations led us to the list that you see before you today with the prohibited uses that will not be allowed on the site, which are about 30 in total. We do have a site plan. We've done a lot of preliminary work, but we're seeking a rezone for this property in order to market it and develop it as best we see fit. So we agree with the staff report and are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioner Weaver, you have anything?
I'm good.
Okay.
Nice work.
Thanks.
Yep. I'll just add a little bit more context for people watching that at the area plan level, we've been hesitant to just do this wide rezoning of property unless we kind of have an idea of what's going to be there. But what has happened is if it stays agricultural versus being zoned business, it's not as marketable. And so now this property has the ability to be marketed, and that's why there's commitments with it that restrict what can be there, but now they have the ability to go market it and sell it for the development out there, which is the whole goal of running the infrastructure out to 65 and 28 is to have it developed. So this is kind of the first one that we've switched our philosophy on in terms of our zoning. And so this one would have a B5 zoning and allow it to hopefully be marketed and developed, and we see some growth out there, so.
Correct.
Yep. So if there's no other questions, I will entertain a motion for the LUPAC. and-
Motion to approve the UPAC
Okay.
zoning.
Motion carries 2-0 for the LUPAC, and then the adoption of the ordinance 2024-09.
So moved.
All right, motion carries 2-0 on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
I don't have anything else unless you guys do.
I don't have any.
Yeah. Good.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Stephanie Harshbarger with the quote for a new election infinity panel. Panels, plural. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Stephanie Harshbarger, the Clinton County Clerk. I'm also here as an election board member. I have one of my election board members here this morning, Beth Hardebeck. She's represents the Democratic Party. Alicia Albertson is my other election board member. She wasn't able to be here this morning, but she does have a letter of endorsement, which you guys do have. So what I'm looking for this morning is your guys' approval to move forward with council to request new infinity panels. What is an election infinity panel? It's when you go up to vote, it's the panel on which you're voting on. So you're choosing your candidate, you're pressing the big red button. Those are 20 years old. They have had an upgrade. So my vendor is telling me we're kind of at the end of the road here. I already do have a panel that has gone out. So I've got my vendor here this morning to do like he's got a little demonstration. His name is Steve Shamo. Steve is the general manager of Microvote. I love my vendor, Microvote. They are a wonderful staff. Call them, email them. They give over 100%. I can't say enough about Microvote. So, so I've got Mr. Shamo here to
All right. Thanks for having me.
Good morning.
About 10 years ago, I was in front of you guys when we did the upgrade of the panels. So the panels were bought originally about 20 years ago. About 10 years ago, the county reinvested in it about 10 cents on the original dollar to buy another decade out of the panels. And we felt comfortable at that time that we had enough components available on the shelf to maintain that lifespan for all the counties that we have in Indiana. There's currently 58 counties on this system in Indiana. The panels you currently have a 386 processor in it, so anyone that knows, that's something from when we were all in high school, and so we're to the point where those are no longer available, and we're to the point now where we're using used parts from old machines to repair these things. So we're at that point. In the past year, the state of Indiana invested in your county and all the other counties to add the paper trail device to it. In fact, like tomorrow, I'm going to another audit for the state of Indiana with the VSTOP team from Ball State. So your voting system with the paper trail device and the electronic device really is the height of voting. I know there still always remains concerns about the electronic element of it, But now that we have two separate vote sources, we have the electronic individual vote records that are stored on the panel and the paper trail record, we are now able to work with the state, and they come in as an independent source and audit elections post-election to prove that the electronic ballots cast match the paper ballots. They do about 4 microvote counties after every election. The county can your county can volunteer for it and get on the queue to do it in November or any other year. Otherwise, it just kind of is a random process. So about 3 years ago, we started the development of this panel. I think I'll bring it over here. Let me unplug this other one. We started development of this panel. It first went into play in Tippecanoe County for the 2020 election. It was the first time that we used it. I'm always very cautious and slow to introduce voting equipment in Indiana. Fortunately, I have a counterpart in Tennessee that's had this panel down there now for 2 elections statewide. This has been used in Indiana now in Steuben County, Tippecanoe County for a few years. So I'm ready to start bringing it into a bigger play. It seems smaller than the original panel, but in fact, the screen presentation is the size. There's no dead space around the edges, so we have a closer proximity to the buttons in relation to the voting candidates themselves. But the significant difference is obviously the clarity of the screen and the color compared to the backdrop. We now have a contrasting screen. Before, we just had a very industrial blue screen. But perhaps the biggest element is now we actually have color designation when they make the selections. They go through the process. So now if I go to the next page, you'll see I voted a straight party ticket. You'll see all of the selections associated with that straight party instead of just the grade X in that spot. Like any other time, you can just shut one of those off, make a counter selection, go through and confirm the vote. The other difference now is that the cast vote button does illuminate only at the point when they're allowed to cast their vote. And we have found already that that has eliminated a lot of the people that walk out of the booth with the ballot still active. And so now they know they push that, they get their signature beep, a little bit now actually more of an audible sound that they can hear, that the poll workers can hear from the outside. The paper trail that would scroll up and be ready for the next voter. So really, it votes exactly the same way, just with a slight shift. And you can see we don't have all the dead space we had on the old panel because we don't have that processor generating heat over here to the side. Now it's all solid state, and it goes through.
Okay.
But really, that's about it. It's nothing that absolutely has to be done. Your panels still have some life in them, and going from there. But we've been trying to get counties. I have about 200 of these panels left in inventory going into the November election. And so Stephanie was the first clerk to reach out and be as proactive on this as anyone in the state. So we wanted to come and give the opportunity for the county to be able to put these into place in November if they had preference to any kind of a payment for next year, and can be split over a 2-year period if necessary to run these out. If not, we get through November with your current panels, and then we look hard at 2026 to roll these things in. But just kind of want to treat it as a health checkup at this point of
Okay.
where you stand.
Good. Questions, Bert?
No. Stephanie, thanks for the work. A lot of extra work and research, I'm sure, that you've put into it. So
Thank you.
kind of nice knowing that you're the first one to reach out to them even. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. Good.
So you're wanting to work with council, because, I mean, we can give you, I think, some support for it,
Okay.
and would obviously be
Exactly.
even willing to be in those conversations, but we have to find the funding for it. So you want to
Well-
roll this out in November?
It wouldn't have to be in November.
Okay.
I mean, 2026 would be fine with me, actually. I know for next year, we don't have an election. Possibly could have a special election, if that would arise. But, I mean, I could use some of my funds next year.
Okay.
If, like I said, especially if we don't have a special election, which I don't think we ever have in the past. But, that could be quite a bit of money, like more than half of what they're asking. So
Gotcha.
that would be
Yeah, so just
substantial.
it's for 65 of them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's 182,000. So I think you know, it sounds like Bert is and I am as well, definitely supportive of this. And if we can work with council to get the funding, then we
Yeah.
can move forward and going with it and signing off on it, so.
Yeah, we just always feel it's important that present to the commission census capital equipment, and then if you know, have the blessing to move forward to council, not waste anyone's time on that end.
Yeah, and no, this is the correct process, because
Yeah.
we adopted the ordinance about the capital asset plan and coming forward. I just wasn't sure about if it was for 25, if you were getting ahead of that
Really,
budget.
I'd prefer it more probably in 26, just because storage of where to put everything, and I know we may be moving once they're starting to work on the courthouse, so.
Okay,
And we do have some concerns about the storage out in the shed out there.
Where we currently have
At
them.
EMA.
EMA.
Yeah, because it really don't have it, climate control to the degree where when it gets steamy, it gets real steamy. Before, it wasn't an issue when it was all electronic, but now we do have paper elements that are in there that, you know, take on moisture and these sort of things that'll go. It doesn't really affect the performance, but I have found in other counties where it's stored in those temperature shift conditions that over time, it affects things. We noticed a little bit on your VV-Pack cases too, a little bit of the finish. We had a little bit of bubbling on the finish, and this is the only county where we've had that. And so.
so what type of storage are other counties utilizing?
Man, it's all over the board. I mean, sometimes it's under stairwells. They're trying to get a higher degree of security, obviously, to lock these things up. Closets, they take 2 square feet a piece if they're stored, you know, tight once again against each other. So you're looking at 130 square feet, really 150 at a minimum, just to function around it. They don't really, you can stack, but you don't gain any space. They're 2 by 1 by 4. And so you can stack them 4 high, but it takes the same space as 4 standing up like soldiers.
Okay.
And but if we do maintain that storage facility out there, what we would do is post-election, we would pull the panels and store those themselves in a more secure climate-controlled area in a much smaller footprint. And that works out pretty well too, because it's the only thing that's programmable.
Yeah.
And everything else just a printer and plastic.
Okay.
My plan is though, once everything's done with the annex and we're back here, I'll have all my equipment here.
Yeah, because you'll have the whole second
I'll have the
floor.
whole second floor,
you're
so
gonna have-
I will have the storage here
Okay.
with me, so.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
I thought we may have it available, but it sounds like you're planning for it already, so that'll be good. Okay. Well, I think we're both supportive of this, so.
Very much so.
If you want us to be a part of the conversation, I think we'd be willing, but it sounds
yeah.
like, trying to get it in at least part of it or some of it in the 25 budget. and
Yeah,
then
definitely.
26 if it's split over 2. So,
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm
Split it up.
all for it, and once, if we can get the funding, then bring it back and we'll sign off on it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie, thanks.
Okay. We'll move on to our old business. Our first item is we have a conflict of interest from Grace Barton. And this is for, she's the county interpreter and translator. And I believe this is going to be to facilitate Prime for Life at the probation department. Is that correct, Nancy? Okay. So we just need to approve this conflict of interest.
Motion to approve the conflict of interest on her.
All right, motion carries 2-0 for that. We'll get it signed here. I got it in the stack. Next item of old business is the Corson proposal. We had this at our last meeting. Commissioner Ewitz did some more investigation, and it is for a backflow preventer here at the courthouse, and I believe it's for some of the exterior water.
Well,
Or
that's what I thought originally, but it is just one of the other backflows.
just one of the other ones? Okay, all right. So it is $1,592.30.
And I think motion to approve.
Yep. All right. Motion carries 2-0 for that. Next item is, we have 2 pay apps, pay app number 8 and pay app number 9
Okay.
for the courthouse and annex projects. I'll go through them. The pay app number 8 is there's two, $345,000, $716.28, $845,968.88. That's for pay app number 8. And the 345 is for the courthouse, and the 845 is for the annex. I'll entertain a motion.
You want to do the separate?
Yeah, let's just do them separately.
Motion to approve number 8 for the courthouse and the annex.
All right, motion carries 2-0 for those pay apps. And for pay app number 9 is $282,832.74 and $401,514.32.
Motion approved envoy payout for number 9, courthouse and annex both.
All right, motion carries 2-0 for those pay apps. I have no items under new business today, so we'll move on to our department head reports. Do we have any department heads? Renee?
Quick update after getting everything approved. So the painting and dispatch got completed yesterday. They were kind of finishing up today, and so it already looks amazing. The consoles are scheduled July 22nd, so we will have the first week and then the following week. So we should have 3 consoles in the first week, and then the second week they will finish with the other 2. So it already looks so different, so we're excited about that. Conkletons have been in working on some of the electrical already and some of the lighting, so we're moving forward. So I'm ready the end of July to get here so we can get this completed because it looks great already.
Awesome,
So
good.
just in some paint, you know, so.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't have anything unless you do.
Do not.
Okay.
No,
Thank you.
good.
All
Thanks
right,
for the update.
thanks.
Anyone else? Brett?
Just a quick comment on Grace's contract. Community Corrections does do referrals to her program also, though a vast majority does come from probation. And we do offer the office space for her program, so I just wanted to be transparent on that.
Okay. We may add that to it, just so that it reflects what's going on, so. Okay, anyone else? Sheriff?
Commissioner Weaver was at the last meeting. Good morning, Sheriff Kelly, for all the video watchers out there. We talked with council about some of the issues that we've had, the electrical and the plumbing that are ongoing at the facility at the jail. So Commissioner Weaver was present at the meeting and talking about what we, kind of a wish list like we did over last year, up until last year, we finished up quite a few of the projects. So it's one of those things where it's just a continuation of, we're going to have to put a lot of work into it. And, cost-wise, I don't have an idea. I've talked to our maintenance people. They are going to try and provide some key projects that need to be done in the plumbing and the electrical. So basically what I'm saying is plumbing and electrical is going to be the big thing over the next year. And we talked with council about it, and obviously want the commissioners to be involved or you will be involved in the process of kind of narrowing down what we can do, what we can get fixed, and what we can get pushed into repair.
Okay.
So basically that's it. We are moving this Wednesday. We have a merit board meeting that will hopefully select 3 applicants that have applied for the merit deputy positions. So that's on the board for Wednesday for us, and so hopefully we'll have some new employees after Wednesday, and some conditional offers out there to those folks. So with that, that's really all I have. And I did receive your email, and I've been in and out of the emails for the last couple of weeks in regards to the contract. So we'll get that, and we'll go forward from there.
Okay. So are you putting together that wish list?
Yes.
And getting?
Yeah,
different
we're getting all the
quotes for 'em?
bids,
Okay.
getting the companies, and I think, I hate to say it, but the projects may be a little bit bigger than what our folks here, and so we're going to reach out to the larger, like ICU and the different contractors, and QPH,
Yeah.
and get those folks and get their professional guidance on it and see what they can do, and hopefully the price tag is reasonable. But with that, I don't know. So we'll get the quotes for you, and we'll get them submitted, and if you guys have any recommendations, or come over and, have at it. And, and I know Mr. Ewitz has stopped in and talked about it a couple times in the very past. So if you guys want to designate somebody to jump in there and come on over, and you can go through the plumbing with us.
Well, I mean, QPH does quality work. I mean, we have them here, we've
Yes,
done it, so
yeah.
I think they'll give us a pretty,
Absolutely.
good quote, and if we can get a couple other ones, so
All right.
I think that's fair.
Anything for me?
I had one thing, I just wanted to make sure you were aware, because we had gotten an email from the ACLU twice now on a complaint versus an inmate not receiving medication.
Yes.
And we sent it to Tanya, but I just want to make
We
sure.
got it.
Okay.
We got it. And
You weren't included in the email that we received, so,
everything the person has received care.
Okay.
And there's times where people don't realize that the health care that they get is good health care, and everything gets addressed that needs to get addressed. And sometimes, the people outside the facility that's not actually in it don't really realize what care they are receiving. So I think the matron has some additional for you so that you have a clear picture of it.
I just want to make sure
Oh,
that
yeah.
it got communicated, because it's coming
It's
to us.
communicated, we're responding to it. The issue is some people like to come into jail and dictate what they receive, and they don't receive certain medications in the jail, and that's what we've ran into here. It's not for a lack of medication, the inmate is receiving his medication.
Okay.
Some medications are restricted, and that causes the argument of, well, I want this, and some medications are not allowed inside the facility, so.
I just wanted to communicate it.
Oh, yeah,
I'll let
absolutely.
you handle it.
No, we got it as soon as it was sent, and so we appreciate that, and, and it's one of those things where, it's public relations.
Yep. Yep.
But thanks for sending it, Tom.
Yep. Okay. Thank you. All right, Stephen, you're up. Thank you. Department head report, as well as, I think you had Axon cameras were the item on the agenda.
Appreciate the grace. I had an employee have a family emergency that took precedence. So we'll start with Axon. Clinton County EMS, we've been exploring how to facilitate an increase in accountability. This is something that I think that EMS nationwide has been lacking. And so one of the pathways that we've been exploring is body cameras for paramedics and EMTs. They're HIPAA compliant. They are not a part of the medical record. They are simply used as a tool to increase training and education. When we have challenging patient care cases, we're able to review that and ensure that the care that was provided was appropriate and timely. And then it also gives us an opportunity to review the footage if we get a complaint or anything like that. Axon is one of the national distributors for body cameras, and what they have offered us is a 2-month trial where we get to have 3 or 4 cameras, and we just get to kind of explore that option, completely free of charge, no liability for us. And so the contract that you guys have is simply for us to do the trial.
Okay. I know this is going to be somewhat of a controversial idea around the department, so I don't know if we need to maybe wait till Commissioner Ewitz is here and everybody just kind of discuss before we move forward with doing this, because I know you and I have talked about it, and just that it's not something that's just welcome with open arms necessarily, so it might need a little bit more discussion before we move forward.
I'll say internally, we're good for the trial.
Good for the trial?
Yep. When speaking with another local first responder who was a part of their department implementing body-worn cameras, the discussion was taken about how everybody initially was saying no, and they had a lot of fear associated with it. And now in today's world, you're not going to work for a law enforcement department that doesn't wear body cameras. Like, that's just the standard practice. There's over 100 EMS agencies throughout the country that have implemented this practice within the last few years. There's definitely a shift growing nationally. Internally, we're good for the trial. Everybody's at least willing to try it. Ultimately, what I have a responsibility for as the department head is to ensure that, you know, we're providing the most appropriate patient care and advocating for the 33+ thousand citizens of Clinton County and its visitors. So, yeah, it's evidence-based. It's got a lot of research behind it as it's been coming out in the last few years. New Orleans EMS is the largest agency that's doing it. They just invested $45,000 into it last year. So there's definitely this trend going in that direction. But I respect the fact, you know, if we want to wait till all three commissioners are here for it.
How many is it? Sorry, I'm re-looking through the agreement and I missed that. How many total body cams?
He said that we would get 3.
3, okay.
Yeah. And then he would send us 12 different ways for us to wear it. So we could trial and see which one fit us best.
Okay.
I just wonder if it wouldn't be a good idea to go ahead and at least try the trial and see what kind of a response and see what some of the good and bads are before we make a decision.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
One thing to emphasize for those here and community members that watch the meetings online, the policy we're going to implement around this is that if we walk into a patient's house and they say, I don't want you to record this, okay, click, turn off. If things go south and, you know, somebody starts, you know, assaulting one of our EMS personnel, then we can just turn the camera back on and protect ourselves with that data and that video to show the situation and how dynamic it was. But the plan will be for our crews that when they get dispatched out, they'll turn it on. When they show up on scene, they'll keep it on, and unless they're requested by the patient to turn it off. And then after we do transfer of care, we'll turn it back off. And that'll be it. I would say probably 90% of the videos aren't going to be reviewed, but the 10% cardiac arrest, drug-assisted intubations, anytime somebody's assaulted or anything like that, you know, we're definitely going to make sure we're documenting all of that. So, and reviewing that. So
I think a training aspect would be very good with something for that.
yeah,
And so I see a big advantage in the training aspect of each or individual paramedics.
yeah.
The ability to even go back and you know, review what was done, how it was done.
Yeah, I'm sure Sheriff Kelly can attest to this. You know, a paper chart only tells so much of the story, and having that footage would be advantageous for the training aspect significantly. So,
Okay, yep. You want to make a motion?
I'll
to
make a
move-
motion that we do it on a trial basis,
Okay.
or accept their offer to do it on a trial basis. And I think it would behoove us to monitor it well, but I'll make the motion that we at least give it on a trial basis and make a report back before we make a decision.
okay,
All right.
sounds good.
Motion carries 2-0.
Thank you. Also, Zoll just got back to me yesterday for the Zoll One program. If you guys recall, early at the beginning of this year, there was a lot of discussion on the Zoll One program. Met with Britt, the budget committee, you guys, and we had signed this contract for the 10-year lease master agreement with Zoll. And then we got the monitors, and they didn't have a piece of equipment that's required for us to have. And so they updated the contract. It's an additional $3,309 per year. I've worked with them since we're getting the monitors in the middle of the year now, I've worked with them to split this year in half. And so what's going to be due this year is $20,476. Then we'll have 9 consecutive payments of $40,952, and then the final annual amount will be $20,476. Just a reminder, this gives us 4 monitors for 5 years, and then they replace those 4 monitors with 5 brand new ones. It includes all maintenance. It includes everything that we need to replace, like pulse oxes, defib pads, all of that stuff is included in this as well. So I'll get you that contract, and I know we signed the initial one, but I'll get you the secondary one. So,
Yep.
Any questions on that?
Yep, just send it over. Send it to Jerry. So
Okay.
we can send it out to all 3 of us, and then we'll just re-review it, and we can go from there.
Okay. And then a couple months ago, Commissioner Ewitz brought up the Rossville ambulance contract and how they wanted to partner with us, where we would provide them an ambulance like we do the other volunteer agencies. They would sell theirs, and then they would, truly become a part of our county contractual agreement. And so I finally got their signatures. There's all of their board members have signed the contract. It was delivered to Jerry this morning, I think.
Yep, we have it here in
Okay.
our staff, note, which we
so-
approved it already, so
Yep.
we just need to sign it.
Yep.
Yep, we'll get it signed for him.
So that's what I have. Oh, I have one more thing. Sorry. Discussions with Ascension and IU Health have both failed for the whole blood initiative. We're currently exploring Versity, and they're a blood bank, and what I believe is going to end up happening in the next couple of weeks is we'll start carrying 2 units of packed red blood cells and then liquid plasma. It's going to be more cost effective for us. We can't afford the whole blood, and also we can't be as good of stewards as we are expected to be because of the national shortage for it. So this will benefit our trauma patients and as well as our medical patients. So,
Okay.
yeah, just want an update on that.
Very good.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to commissioner reports.
I have nothing, sir.
You have nothing? Only thing I have, I know we're getting close, and council extended that deadline for this year where budgets, I think, are due July 15th. Does that sound right?
Yes.
If you have a capital asset purchase, which Stephanie came for one for 25, be bringing it to us with the new ordinance in place. They need to be approved to get onto the budget for 25. So if you have those, bring them before us before your
Yeah.
budget's due. So we meet again on July 2nd. I think that'll be the only meeting
Okay.
before the 15th deadline.
I'd also like to add that the reporting of everything that goes on in this county goes through my office. So if you have a wrecked vehicle, if you have a capital asset, anything that you do, if you have a contract, everything has to be loaded on the state website and has to go through my office. So please make sure to tag me in anything that you send so I can report it.
Okay, thank you. Next up is our claims. We have claims dated June 7th, $26,160.29. June 14th, $3,587.24. Bi-weekly from June 18th in an amount of $764,605.61. Bi-weekly number 2 from the 18th in an amount of $10,347.28, and then a court claim from the 18th as well for $13,215.34.
Motion to approve claims.
Motion carries 2-0 for claims. We have payroll from 5/31 for $547,540.02.
Motion to approve.
Motion carries 2-0 for payroll. Next, we have minutes from 6/5.
And motion to approve the minutes.
Minutes are approved 2-0. Our next meeting, as I already mentioned, will be on July 2nd. Is there any other business to come before the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, thanks. Not gonna lie, I'm dreading signing.